Hello everyone and welcome back to the episode 4 of the DRS Zone podcast. Today we are joined by Jacob Newton, new guest to the podcast. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hello, my name's Jacob. Crazy F1 fan. Been an F1 fan for probably a year. So
Nice.
I've got a lot of knowledge to bring to this podcast. Hopefully people can learn from me. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah. Favourite driver?
On a weekly basis, it changes between Charles Leclerc and Lance Stroll. Big fan of both. Both young drivers, good qualities.
Yep.
Both of them have.
F1 team? Any preference on constructors?
Ferrari, I think.
Ferrari.
I think last year I was big on Ferrari.
Yep.
Just because they were putting up a fight, which made it interesting for me. Not as a passive fan, as a very strong fan.
Yeah. A newcomer to the sport.
Yes.
What got you into F1?
I was on a bus back from Bristol after a gig that I was playing, and I was on Sky Go and saw the Belgium F1
Nice.
the Grand Prix was on.
Nice.
I just put it on, and I think it was the one where George Russell came second in the wet.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was cancelled.
yeah.
It was a great first race for me.
Yeah.
Very
Good
exciting.
one, yeah.
And clearly put me on. It got me onto F1, so
exactly.
it must have done something.
So we are coming off the back of. 2 weeks ago was the Australian Grand Prix. I had a few things to do before recording this, so we're a few weeks late, but we can hopefully remember a few things that went on during the Grand Prix. So we shall give us a brief overview of the race, then we'll move on to sort of predictions for Baku, which is the next Grand Prix. We'll talk about the main section of this podcast is going to be rating the liveries for this season, which should be fun. And then, as Jacob is a new member of the podcast, he is going to be doing the quiz to see where he ranks on the leaderboard. Obviously, Jacob new to F1, so we'll be nice. I'm not expecting the maybe the
expecting spark.
Yeah, but we'll see how it goes. So I think the main sort of talking points from Australia. We had any Leclerc fans out there. Devastating lap 1, first 3 corners, and he's out of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, my two favourite drivers colliding, wasn't it?
Yeah. Not a great start.
Wasn't the best start I've ever had. Waking up at 5 in the morning, or whether it was 6, 5.
Yeah, that was.
It was it woke me up.
Yeah.
Not in the best way, but a quick end to Charles Leclerc race.
Yeah.
Again, really. Just
He's not had
another painful.
Yeah, not had a great start to the season.
No,
We had obviously dream scenario for me as a Mercedes fan, having 1-2 after the first lap was beautiful.
Yeah.
I think I was realistic in the fact that I knew it probably wasn't going to last. But,
well, you worry about that later.
Yeah, I had
You
hope.
enjoy it while it
I had
lasts.
hope for a brief few minutes. And obviously we had Russell leading the Grand Prix. He then pitted under the safety car, which came out for Albon.
King of Sector 2.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And then sort of didn't have great luck when the red flag came out, which then meant that everyone could have a free pit stop. I think that first...
What, was it the lap before?
Yeah, I think it was the lap before, but it was 3 red flags in the race. I think this one was probably... I think it was a fair red flag.
Yeah, I agree.
Car was almost on the racing line.
Yeah. When you saw Hulkenberg's perspective, after it, you was just
couldn't see much. It was a pretty scary incident. Obviously, there was gravel all over the track, which I think is why we had the red flag.
I think the most ridiculous thing about that red flag was that queue that formed.
Yeah.
On that corner that Albon crashed in.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the first red flag. Obviously, we had the restart. No real issues from the restart. Hamilton in first, which was lovely for me. But the pace of the Red Bull just was a bit too much.
Down that back straight.
It's horrible.
Electrifying.
Then it was a fairly I wouldn't say boring Grand Prix. It was the best one this season.
It was your standard one, really.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? You saw Red Bulls,
Yeah, just
cutting through the field.
Perez
got
made
through
it
the field.
interesting at least with some overtakes, which was quite nice.
Yeah, but we just
And then madness struck about 4 laps from the end. We had our second red flag, which was for Magnussen, who
that's a wheel going flying.
yeah, wheel went flying, hit the wall, had to stop. But I think that probably didn't need a red flag. I mean, I think they could have done that under safety car conditions, but it made for an intriguing end to the race, which would had a lot of controversy. There's been a lot of talking points from it. Obviously, went racing again. Sainz hit Alonso in turn 1, which sent Alonso to the back. We had Lance Stroll locked up in turn 3 and sent him to the back. We then had the red flag for the 2 Alpines crashing into each other, Gasly and Ocon. I had personally voted for Gasly's driver of the day in 5th.
I think he was.
And
even after that, I think he was.
I voted for him. And then a lap later, after the restart, he crashed out. So that was fantastic.
Driver of the day didn't finish.
Yes, but I think the major talking point has come about Sainz's penalty. I think he got a 5-second penalty, obviously, for taking Alonso out. But I think if you have a look at it, I think this is obviously. I think the FIA did well. They followed the rules which they've put in place. But I think the issue then comes in with the fact that I think the rules probably aren't the best.
Well, it was a very unique situation, wasn't it? Really, that
finished
was unfortunately the part of.
Finished under the safety car, obviously. 5-second penalty then obviously means, Bahrain. Sainz went from 4th to 12th as he crossed the line due to his 5-second penalty. Obviously, finishing under the safety car, everyone's bunched up, so he went straight to the back. But if you have a look in Bahrain, if you'd have gone, the gap between 4th and 12th was 50 seconds. So you kind of think Sainz's 5-second penalty turned almost into 10 5-second penalties, which it does beg the question. It's like, okay, the rules were followed, but do they maybe need to be flexible? Yeah, there needs to be flexibility depending on the situation, because a regular 5-second penalty would be fine, but obviously if all the cars are within 5 seconds of each other,
but I think that
it's a bit harsh.
That can create issues like these. Abu Dhabi, I'm not going to mention it for you, but you know what I mean. When there's not rules set in place and there's room to be lenient about it, teams are always going to try and find a way to go. Well, we're lenient about this. Why aren't you lenient about this?
I think,
and it creates issues. I think you do have to be firm. And it's unfortunate for him.
Maybe could you have argued that? I know it was within the race. You could say that maybe they should change the rules in terms of if your last lap of the Grand Prix, if that was the first lap of the race, FIA probably go first lap racing incident potentially. But obviously you're right at the end. Someone's losing out. Could you have then maybe gone, okay, let's maybe give him a penalty for the next race, maybe give him a grid drop or something like that.
Or you could put in place where you have. I know this is like going to be a very, like we said, a unique situation, but safety car sort of penalties where you take into account the fact that the pack's bunched up. So it's a placement penalty within the race rather than a time
penalty that's just going to basically it's basically just you're going to go last. So
and then again, like, it's hard because with the time penalties you have that possibility to pit and get rid of that time penalty. So the placement penalty is very different. You can't have that, and it changes the whole race. So it's a hard one to deal with. But then again, should he have got it because the race was reset?
5-second penalty. Penalties typically given out because either dangerous driving or because you've compromised someone else. But if Alonso has been given his position back, you could then argue, well, why has Sainz been penalised when Alonso's got his place back? But it's definitely it's definitely. But then again, in terms of dangerous driving, like I said, if it is a lap 1 of the Grand Prix, the FIA probably put that as a lap 1 racing incident. First turn, everyone
Well, it'd be like
bunched
that first
up.
time with Leclerc.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
So
very different, but
yeah, but we obviously finished behind the safety car. Max won his first Australian Grand Prix.
I off by then, actually.
Yeah, Hamilton got second, which I was very happy about. Good result for the Mercedes. Alonso getting another podium, finishing P3. Obviously, Sainz from 4th to 12th, which wasn't great. But I think it was a decent race overall. I think it was definitely better than Bahrain. I think if it was maybe slightly later in the day, it would have been nicer.
Yeah.
But
nice handshake on the podium from Lewis and Alonso.
Yep.
I always appreciate it.
Max crying in his post-race interviews about Hamilton pushing him off track in lap 1, which was rubbish, but that's Max for you. Next race we got is Baku. Will be at a much nicer time of the day, so that'd be nice.
Yeah.
We'll go through some predictions for what we think might happen in Baku. Any initial podium thoughts?
My instant thought is Lance Stroll on the podium. I'm waiting for it. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen this season. I mean, it will happen.
Surely inevitable.
Yeah, it should. I mean, I think everyone's initial prediction will probably be a Red Bull 1-2.
Yeah, I think I am going
Baku.
To go
It's a very there's 2 DRS zones.
Yeah, I mean, one of them's massive.
Yeah, massive DRS zone. You've got high speed, which suits the Red Bull down to the ground. I think you might see. We thought we might see, Alpine. They've had a bit of a dodgy start, so I'm not sure if they'll. Although Gasly, if he drives like he did in Australia, it'd be interesting. We've obviously got Aston Martin, who were maybe, Saudi Arabia, they weren't meant to do that well because they weren't the best in a straight line, but obviously they proved that wrong and they did really well. So I think
you always got to throw Ferraris in there as well.
Yeah,
you never know.
If Leclerc gets a bit of luck,
he's got improving without actually putting
anything on the car. That'd be interesting. I think it's definitely I think the safe bet would be a Red Bull 1-2, or at least both on the podium, and then your final podium spot is probably a battle between Aston, Mercedes, and then Ferrari if they can, get. But again, in Saudi Arabia, the Ferraris didn't look great in a straight line, especially. So
without describing, they just look passive and just sort of they are there,
but not
in the
really.
Middle, but they're not. They're not challenging for anything significant.
I think as an underachiever for the race, I could see. I don't know. I think it. I think we could potentially see maybe one of the Mercedes underachieve.
Yeah.
I could see either Hamilton or Russell struggling or having a poor race.
Lewis's.
Yeah, he's had a few good.
Does he win many at Baku?
He has won at Baku before. Yeah. Obviously,
it's not one that he's dominated.
No, it's not one of obviously his best circuits. Obviously, he had the mistake in 2021, but I could see one of the Mercs having a difficult weekend.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think overachievers we could look at. I do think one of the Alpines, because I think at the start of the season, no one's really expected much of them. Yeah. So I think, Ocon or Gasly could have a decent race, maybe see something from a Williams or a Haas.
I was going to say McLaren.
Would be nice. Maybe we could see Lando, he's... Obviously, McLaren have had a terrible start to the year, but you never know. There's maybe... Again, not a lot of expectation on them, so if they could get, maybe Lando's 7th or 8th would be...
At Wrexham. He's playing... He should be way higher.
Yes, but we could see something from that.
I think we could see Lando doing something.
Yeah, I could see that. First DNF of the Grand Prix now. I'd say that there's going to be quite a few potentially, considering we had a lot of red flags in Australia, and obviously we've got street circuit, a lot of potential for crashes, and if there is a crash on circuit, it definitely probably will be a red flag or a safety car. No, not really.
Where Ricciardo and Verstappen went a few years ago. But my prediction for first DNF, Nick De Vries.
not had the greatest start
No,
to
he
the
hasn't.
season.
That Williams performance at
yeah.
Monza sort of set everyone up for like this hype train that he's going to outperform
AlphaTauri haven't been great this season anyway.
Yeah, neither him or Tsunoda.
No,
Done a lot.
I could see one of the Alfa Romeos, probably Guan Yu Zhou. I could see Zhou getting a DNF. I mean, anyone could get a DNF. You know, we've seen tyre failures before at Baku. We've seen Verstappen have one in 2021. We've had Bottas, I think, in 2019 had a failure there. Yeah. So it'll be an interesting race. It should be an interesting race. Hopefully.
Perez is great at street circuits.
Perez is very good street circuits.
He's always got like a little mistake in him as well.
It does.
That can cost you on these.
I'd like to see Perez get.
I think if he's battling with Verstappen, I think he could possibly make a mistake whilst trying to push it too far. Do you know what I mean? And that can cost him.
I think we could see a good race from Perez. That would be nice. Next topic of discussion that we've got is probably our main discussion of the podcast, which is 2023 liveries. Now, obviously, every season it's a major talking point at the start of the season in terms of everyone's favourite liveries, what cars are going to do or what cars aren't going to do, as we'll probably discuss. So if we'll go bottom to top, I reckon.
What could do you name a team and then we can compare what we both put.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I like that. So we'll start with Red Bull. They're top obviously at the moment in terms of constructors and drivers championship. So where have you put Red Bull in terms of 1 to 10?
I put them sixth. Because I mean everyone knows it's going to be the same car each year, but it's a good looking car.
Yeah, I mean I've put it 7th, so fairly similar.
Sort of
it's not
middle.
It's not because it's not a good livery. It's a decent livery. It's just the fact I've put it that far down because, you know, we've seen the same car from Red Bull since like 2016, and it's just.
I mean, even before that, it looks the same.
Yeah, it's the same colours, but like.
Yeah.
You know, I get because of, you know, the sponsorship with Red Bull and, you know, being a Red Bull car, you know, you've got to have those colours involved, but they could try a different design
it's
or
one thing that makes them different from the other teams, though, that sort of uniqueness. They might like that idea of...
Yeah, but I think something would just be nice if it's not like every season the only difference you can see is a few different sponsors on the car. There's no real change
Slightly
to it.
differences in the placements of yellow.
Yes, or maybe a different shade of yellow. But it's just I'd like to see them do something different.
Yeah, there's never really a drastic change.
No. Which is a shame.
They have that white car, whenever that was.
Yeah, they have the special liveries they do are really nice, and it's just like, why can't you maybe incorporate something like that into maybe one of your cars for the season? I don't know. So it's a bit of a shame. We'll go for Ferrari next. Obviously not having the greatest start to the season, but obviously good last season. Where have you put their car?
I put them third.
I have also got them third. Yeah, I do like the Ferrari. It's much better than last year, I think.
I'm inclined to agree, yeah.
I didn't particularly like the yellow on the car last year. I don't know about anyone else, but the red, the black, it's nice. There's a
clean.
It's nice and clean. It's classic Ferrari. Not much change, but the subtle changes have definitely made a difference for me.
I definitely don't like that square they have on the
black square at the bottom is a bit. If that was just red, that would be not much nicer. Yeah. But
I think they could easily just get away with a full red car with like a black wing. And black wheel, and people would be happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's Ferrari. You can't really go wrong with just red. So
well,
they have before, but
when they put that green on it.
Yeah, the green or the yellow. Don't try and add the colours. Just keep it with the red, maybe a bit of white or black, and
you can push the bow out with a bit of white, but let's not go crazy.
Yeah, we'll move on to we'll go for Mercedes next. I think the topic of discussion, I think, before the reveals were, are they going to stay with the silver? Are they going to go back to the black, which everyone really liked? They went with the black, and I think it's worked.
It's my top.
It's my top one as well, not because I'm a Mercedes fan, but I think maybe. But I think a lot of people would agree that it is a really nice looking car.
It's that lovely sort of turquoise stripe they've got going around
Yeah.
it as well. Which is,
And then obviously I
so
really
nice.
like what they do with the colours of the numbers
yeah,
as
I was
well.
going to say that. Yeah.
The neon sort of colours for the
Yeah.
numbers.
Not sure about the blue that was it Russell had.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
wasn't
he's
a big fan
changed
of
it
that.
now.
Yeah, green. He went from green to
he's-
blue,
he's,
didn't he?
No, I think he's green now.
Did he go from blue to green?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
I do like what they do with that, but I think
Yeah.
the Mercedes is probably my favourite.
I think most people would agree.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Apart from maybe people who hate Mercedes.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's a few of them.
yeah. I think we'll go to a team that obviously we've discussed already that aren't having a great season. McLaren not having a great season on the track, and for me not having a great season with the livery either.
No, we are sharing this opinion again.
I've gone last.
This is the worst.
Yes.
Livery. So
Yeah.
there's nothing
They-
redeeming about it.
They've done too much. It's just a bit all over the place. I mean, it's noticeable,
Yeah.
but not probably for a very good reason.
I think the what stands out from this is no sort of main colour. Obviously, we all know that orange is
The
what they want to go,
orange.
but they put way too much black on
yeah,
there that it just
There's
it looks
sponsors all over it. It's just it feels
looks like a toy car.
it feels messy.
Yeah, it
Um,
really does.
So
I like
yeah,
the wheels though.
the wheels are nice.
They
Everything
had that
else,
last year, didn't they?
I'm not really a fan of.
No, I'm not feeling it at all.
So yeah, that is my bottom place. We'll go to a team obviously that's doing really well this season. It turned it around from last season. Aston Martin,
Mm-hmm.
not changed much, but
Slight colour, wasn't it?
yeah, slight colour difference this year. Where have you gone?
I've gone second.
Second.
I loved it last. It was probably my
It's a
favourite
nice
last year.
colour. It is a nice colour. I do like it. This season I've gone with the same principle as Red Bull a bit. It's much better than the Red Bull because there is definitely a noticeable difference in there. For me personally, I've gone middle of the range. I've gone fifth, which might be a bit controversial to some people, but
To me.
I just think there are a few cars above them. Obviously, the Mercs and the Ferrari I've put above them, but there's two more in there that I think are nicer for me personally.
It's
but
not like the Red Bull where they've done it for year after year after year.
No,
If they did,
no.
if we come back in, because this podcast will still be going on in 5 years, I'm sure.
Hopefully.
But if they've kept the same livery then,
Yeah,
even with subtle colour change,
Yeah.
at
yeah.
that point, that's
You've
when
got to
it's gonna start
change it.
getting
You
silly,
have to
but
change it.
I think 2 years on the bounce. I think last year it was definitely the best looking car, and this year Mercedes have redeemed themselves.
Yeah,
And they've took it, but I think it's still a lovely
Yeah.
looking car.
it's a very good looking car. One that I think it was the first car to be released was Alfa Romeo. Where have you gone with
Was it
them?
Haas first?
Haas and Alfa Romeo, I think, were the first two.
Yeah.
Probably Haas,
I
but
think
we'll
Haas
go.
was-
We'll go with Alfa
Yeah.
Romeo. What have you done?
I do
for
not
them?
like this livery
Oh.
at all. I really don't. I think it's such a downgrade from last year. I put it in seventh.
Seventh. Now
It's-
this.
I when I first looked at it, I went, oh yeah, that looks weird because Haas came with
Yeah.
with the black,
The black
which
with
we'll
the
get
white
to.
strip.
and then Alfa Romeo did it as well, and I went, oh yeah, that looks really good, really good. And then I looked back at last year's car, and last year's car
The
looked
red and
so
white.
much better.
The red and white.
In my opinion, it looks so much cleaner. Yeah, I don't. It looks too dark for me. I like
Yeah.
the white because it was because red's such a strong colour.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's black, it's darkest shade. It was. It's too much for collision.
Yeah.
Colour collision for me.
I mean, that's fair enough. I have gone the other end. I've put it second, personally. I really like it. I looked at it at first and thought, that's really nice. And I still think it is. I'm a big fan of black on an F1 car. I think, especially if you can matte it out, it always looks nice. I don't know what it is. I did like last season's Alfa Romeo with the white and the red. I just think this one looks maybe a bit meaner. It looks more like sleek. I don't know. For me personally, I really like it. I really like the black of the Mercedes, so I think that's where I've gone with the Alfa Romeo
Fair
as well.
enough.
I just think
Fair enough.
I think it'll look really good on like a night circuit as well.
Maybe, yeah. Well, we saw it in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think maybe around the streets of Singapore that thing.
Maybe
will
in
look,
Vegas.
Yeah,
They might be talking.
it might look nice, but for me personally, it's a very good car. Williams, a team that obviously I think for a few years I've not been a fan of their cars. This season, they've definitely improved.
Quick one on Williams, but Williams seems like a team that everyone kind of likes. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. No one
dislike them.
Well, no. I think it's fairly similar with Haas. You can't really, can't really hate them just because they're not.
People don't like.
They're just not great.
Because
I love him.
Got rid of Mick Schumacher for
Gunter
performing
Steiner.
badly. So I mean, whatever. But.
Absolute legend.
Anyway, Williams, I put them in fourth. I really like it.
I've got them sixth.
I like the contrast in blues.
I like the blue, and I definitely think it's an improvement from last year.
Yeah.
I just think, for me, it's a little simple, but it is.
Simplicity is nice.
Yeah, it is. I just think it's a good livery. I just think there's better liveries on the grid. I think it's gone from a bad livery, I think, last season to a good one this season. Yeah. So I think they've definitely improved.
I think it is very nice. I don't know, the contrast in blues to me they do something for me. But
is nice. Alpine one, obviously at the first few races of the season they've gone with the pink livery. Obviously that's we've moved back to the regular livery, which is the one that we're gonna judge, which is the blue livery. I think it's not really changed from last season.
Say, it's quite similar, isn't it? It's not
yeah,
the same.
I do like it. It's just not. Doesn't, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't do much for me. It's a nice shade of blue, but I think it's just very boring. There's not much change from last season, so I've put it in 8th, just below Red Bull, because I think both of them haven't really changed the car, but the Red Bull design is nicer than the Alpine, so I think that's where I've put mine.
I've put it 9th. I really do not like it. I didn't like it last year. I don't like it this year. Blue and pink for me does not work, and pink on its own on a car definitely does not work.
No.
But yeah, it's still better than McLaren.
Yeah.
There's not much I can really say about it.
No.
I just don't like the colours that they've put together. It must be something to do with their sponsors or whatever. But I just don't like how it looks at all.
We got 2 left. Alpha Tauri is one. They've made some interesting changes, definitely noticeable changes, which is at least something. However, changes that I'm not really a fan of. I've got them in 9th.
I've put them 8th.
Yeah, so fairly similar. I'm just not.
It's that red.
The red is
not work.
It's confusing for me. I'm not a fan of the red.
I think it was one of the cars when it got revealed. People went, "Oh."
And then just went no.
It just
it's
went
just it just went ooh, and then no.
Yeah.
It's just I think I like the initial color scheme that they've got, the white and the sort of like the navy blue.
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
Always
maybe
works.
again maybe a little bit of a different design, which they don't usually do, but that would be nice. But I think they've tried to do something different, but adding the color in just isn't the one. I'm just.
No. I respect the change.
Yeah,
it's got to be a good change.
Yeah, it's just not worked, I don't think, for me. And then the final one is Haas, which was the first livery to be released. And where have you put Haas?
Put it in 5th.
Yeah, I've got it 4th.
I think everyone kind of went crazy when it first got released.
Yeah, I think it's it was definitely an improvement of the last few years. I think the Haas car has been typically one that people have definitely described as boring. It was just white with a little bit of black.
Of the grid, so it's just sort of.
It was a bit boring. I think this year they've definitely changed it. It does look a lot nicer. I think the black with the white down the middle is much nicer. I think they've done a good job considering it's been a really average livery for the last few seasons.
Yeah, they've tried to recover it. I think they put too much black on it. I think it's too high on the.
I do like
chassis.
it though.
I think it should be a bit lower.
Yeah, maybe a bit lower, a bit more white potentially, but it is a good solid livery. So
it's solid. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, so obviously both got McLaren last, and then my podium is Mercedes, Alfa Romeo, and Ferrari, and Jacobs is
Mercedes, Aston Martin, and Ferrari.
Yeah, so not too similar. There's a few disagreements in there,
Yeah,
but
we're quite similar.
I mean, it's obviously personal preference. There's a lot that people like and dislike about a lot of things, but
no one can actually like that McLaren. I'm sure.
No. There'll be someone out there. There will be someone out there, but for people with a brain, probably not. Sorry, McLaren, but it's
I like McLaren.
I do, but it just hasn't worked. We're gonna move on to probably the part of the podcast that Jacob is probably the most nervous for. Is the quiz, which has been compiled. There's 6 questions from 2014 onwards, which Jacob will probably hope to get a few of them. Obviously,
fingers crossed.
Being fairly new to F1, there's no real pressure on getting some of the older questions. I wouldn't have expected you to know them, but if you can
have a go,
have a go, that would be fine. We've obviously then got 4 questions from 2010 or below, so older questions that you might struggle with, but there's a few in there that I think you might be able to guess.
An educated guess. Let's hope for it.
Yeah, so
sound like I'm a school exam.
Yes.
You don't know, just have an educated guess.
Just have a guess. So question 1, we'll start off nice.
Don't say that because I'll get it right.
Don't embarrass yourself. Who won the 2017 World Championship?
Lewis Hamilton.
He's got 1 for 1.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Like my sister said, I tested her on the quiz before. My sister knows nothing about F1, but she said just say Hamilton for all of them.
I mean, you can have a pretty good guess.
Yeah,
at that.
yeah.
I think there's no bonus points, but I'm gonna say Rosberg was 2016. Right?
He was.
Good.
So that's the anomaly for those sorts of years. But 1 for 1 so far.
Huge.
Who finished last in the Constructors' Championship in 2019?
2019.
This was just before.
Yeah, I didn't watch this.
Came into Formula 1, but
I don't think it was Haas. I don't think it was. I'm gonna go with Williams.
Again, one of those that's just if in doubt, say Williams or Haas. And he has got the 50-50 right. It was Williams.
Yes.
So he's 2 for 2 so far.
Come on.
He's an F1 genius. Third one, in Hamilton's first season with Mercedes, which race did he win?
Well, the one race?
Yeah, which race did he win for Mercedes
in his first
season?
That he joined?
Oh, this is going to test mine. Sorry for getting this wrong, guys. I won't. 2013.
Well, yeah, so the year before he won his first one with Mercedes.
Yes.
So Vettel's last season.
Yeah. Moved in to 2013 into an up-and-coming Mercedes.
I'm trying to think about the
He did win a race.
Is it one that's still on the calendar?
It is. He got pole as well. He got pole and converted it. Now that again, it's a good guess if you're not sure, but it is wrong. It was Hungary.
Oh,
his one of his most successful circuits.
100%'s out the window.
But yeah, two out of 3 so far. Let's keep it up. In 2020, who replaced Hamilton for a race?
It was Bahrain, right? George Russell?
It was at Bahrain circuit. It was Russell.
And
it was the Sakir Grand Prix. Yes.
Oh, not Bahrain. Well,
Sakir Grand Prix. Hamilton had COVID, I believe. Russell obviously replaced him.
Yeah.
Didn't DNF. He got second on qualifying. Was in first, and then Mercedes messed up his tyres, and he had to keep coming in.
Yeah.
He got points, but he could have got a win.
My least favourite driver on the grid.
Yeah, so that is 3 out of 4 so far.
I'll take that.
In 2014, now we're moving to a territory Newton will probably not be
too strong.
Yeah,
because I was so strong at the other.
Yeah. In 2014. Where did Williams finish in the Constructors' Championship?
Got a 1 out of 10.
Yeah,
10%.
yeah.
Well, I know it's not first, so I'll say that. I'm going to go.
Rule that one out.
Lucky number 7th. It's sixth, isn't it?
No, it's third.
Really?
Yeah, they finished third.
Wow.
Williams
What happened?
used to be. Yeah, I know. Everyone's thinking. The days of Bottas and Massa in the cars.
Oh yeah.
Good
Wow.
days. P3 in the championship.
That's
and then
impressive.
they've fallen off since then.
Yeah.
Final one of the sort of more modern ones.
Great.
Before this team was called Aston Martin, can you name me 2 names that they were called prior to Aston Martin? So obviously a few teams will change their names over the years. We've got Alfa Romeo on the grid, who used to be called Sauber.
Yeah.
Teams change their names. We'll have Audi coming in. Not sure if they're going to be a new team or not, but can you name 2 previous names for Aston Martin? Before they took it over?
BWT Racing Point.
Racing Point is 1, so he has
that's
half.
the pink one,
He
right?
has
With
he
Perez.
has half a mark currently.
Another before that.
Yeah.
Before that.
No, again, this will be before Jacob started watching F1, so
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
you'll probably know the
think.
name.
That's one thing I probably will, but I just can't.
If you can't think, you've got half a point. for
Force India.
that. It is Force
Is it?
India. It is,
Really?
yes. So he has the full point on that one. So
Come on.
he has 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6 so far.
I'll take that.
He's got 4 questions left.
I can get half marks. I'll be
Yeah,
happy.
yeah. That'd be nice. You would get 6. If that would be a decent score, representative. So we have, before Hamilton,
Yes.
who was the last British driver to win a world championship?
Oh, let's go through the names that have.
Does he know?
There's someone that has the first name Jack. I can't think of his
I'll give you the year,
Okay.
2009.
Oh, I'm an idiot. Yeah, Jensen Button.
We'll give it him. Jensen Button.
Oh, no,
It
yeah. I was thinking years back.
No. Jensen Button.
Wait, so what was the question?
Who was the last British driver to win a world championship that wasn't Hamilton?
Oh, okay.
So-
I was thinking before 2008.
No.
So,
So yeah, Jensen Button. So we are on 5.
Yeah.
3 questions left.
Come on.
How many world championships did Ayrton Senna win?
3.
He's got another right. He's doing well.
I think I actually knew that one as well. I don't think that was a
6.
guess. Actually, no, it was a guess between 2 and 3.
Yeah, you've got 6.
Okay.
2 questions left. Can he get to 7? What was the
Yeah.
nationality
Yeah.
of the first ever F1 world champion? And to clarify, this is drivers world champion, obviously.
Was it 1950?
1950.
I mean, there's about 3 drivers, wasn't there? 3 races.
There wasn't many
Um,
races back in those days.
British.
He's got it right. It was
I got it-
Italian.
it
It was Italian.
I was going to guess Italian or British.
So you got 1 more to get 7. Currently on
What
6.
was his name? Do you know?
Oh God,
then
you're
I'm
gonna
not gonna
test.
say-
You're
no,
gonna
no,
test
no,
my
no.
knowledge there. Nah, I will get it. It was.
So I remember watching the
so-
what was it? What's the thing that F1 did? The YouTube, what's it called? Grill the Grid.
Yeah, and
Vettel got all the
Sebastian
F1.
Vettel went through every single one.
Got every single one right.
And got every single one right. He did.
Yeah, I remember watching
It
that.
was
And I remember him just going through.
Nino
Constantly.
Farina. Nino
there you go.
Farina. He got, I believe, back in those days, like the championship was won by like, I think he got like 30 odd points.
Yeah.
Something like that. Whereas now you get like 300 odd. So
You can almost get 30 in one race.
yes, almost. So final question.
Oh man, 6.
You are on 6 out of
So
9.
I'm not going into first place. for sure.
No. Final question. Who is the only Canadian driver to win a world title?
Lance Stroll. No, I'm joking.
Maybe in the future.
Definitely in the future. Canadian. Villeneuve. Is he
No,
Canadian?
do you know what I'm going to give it him because the last name is Villeneuve. It was Jacques Villeneuve.
That's
So
what I was thinking.
yeah,
Is there
so
another one?
Gilles Villeneuve
Oh,
is
right.
the other one, but he
Well,
did not win one.
for the
So
record,
Jacques
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve, there we go.
Yeah, thank you.
7 out,
7 out
of
of
10. He's not disgraced
Am I
himself.
last? I joined last.
Yeah, but out of 3 people so far.
Yeah, 3, then I'll take it. Top
yeah,
3.
Top 3. He's on the podium so far. So yeah,
Malonza.
7 out of 10.
I'll take that. I'll
So-
definitely take that.
The nerves have gone away and he's not disgraced himself. So
Not completely.
no. So obviously Baku is up next.
Yeah.
We've obviously already done our predictions for Baku. And that is the final thing in the podcast done. Jacob 7 out of 10 for his quiz. He's done
Very
well.
happy.
And I mean, you know, a few of the questions on there I wasn't expecting you to get. You got some right. There was a few 50-50s that you got wrong,
Yeah.
but you know, as someone who's relatively new to F1, I think he's done very well there.
Was that Williams' question? Actually?
Williams question,
I had no
yeah.
idea.
If you don't know, if you don't know,
If you only came to sport when I did, you'd think
You'd be
it's
like,
gotta
oh,
it's
Williams.
gotta be near the bottom.
They're always last, but yeah, they had a few good years. So and obviously,
That's
you
true.
know, they were very good back in the day, but recently, you
Not
know,
my time.
yeah. But yeah, that is the end of the podcast. We'll hopefully get another one done for Baku in a week or so, 2 weeks time. That is it for this episode. Thank you very much, Jacob, for joining us.
No, thank you for having me.
If you have any questions that you can ask on the Instagram that we could maybe go through in episodes down the line, that'd be good. Maybe leave them in the comments of the YouTube if possible. Any suggestions of things that you might want us to talk about, any controversial topics from previous seasons that you might want us to go over.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to choose from, so you can leave them in the comments if you want. And yeah, that's it from us. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Ciao.